Alright, in this video we're going to talk about a bow that I picked up off of Amazon. Bow fishing season is here. The water's starting to clear and I'm ready to shoot some fish. So anyway, this bow is a Sinoart Falcon 60-inch recurve bow that cost $79.80 off of Amazon. Now, I don't know if this bow's any good or not, but it looked like a bow that would be very useful for bow fishing, especially if you're inviting a guest. I wanted about a 30 to 35 pound bow because pretty much anybody can shoot a bow like that. Most people are still using compound bows, so when you invite them to go bow fishing, a recurve bow feels awkward, especially if it's over, 40, 50 pounds. So this one being 30 pounds at 28 inches should be pretty much what I'm looking for. So let's put this thing together and see what we got. All right, so I've already cut the tape on this box, so let's open it up, see what we got. Okay, it's got some instructions, instruction of recurve bow, and pretty much step one, step two, so pretty much, straightforward. Look here, it comes with a pretty nice bow stringer. I like that. All right, and let's see here what else is in the box. There's the bowstring, comes with an Allen wrench. Okay, there's the arrow rest. Looks like a plastic flipper type arrow rest. So we'll put that on there, and let's get this thing out of here. I'm just gonna try to do this pretty quickly. So let's see here. This is the riser. Boy, look at it. It comes camouflaged. And that's a pretty nice looking riser. Look at there. All right. Got a good feel to it. Got a nice shelf on it. Got some sight mount or bow fishing reel mounts and stabilizer mount on here. All right, and let's see here. And here, all right, let's move this box. I'm just going to chunk this box out of the way. We don't need it anymore. And all right, here's the recurve limbs, and it looks like they are probably some maple. Look, it looks like there's a little, oh, that's not separation. That's just the padding between the limbs and the riser. And this one here, again, is a 30 pound at 28 inches. I need to read what they're made of. I don't think that's maple and carbon or bamboo and carbon, but I need to look and see what that really is. Okay, well, let's put this together. All right. Pretty much straightforward. Lower limb, upper limb. I'm sure we just take these bolts out. And the bottom limb, let's see here. Looks like it lines up real well. Okay, so far so good. Let's get these kind of snug. So we got the limbs in the riser, and don't want to over tighten these, just snug them. Just kind of, just snug like that. You don't want to over tighten them. Look at that. That's a pretty good looking bow so far. Okay, so let's take this, go ahead and put the flipper type arrow rest in. I kind of like these rests like this. Pretty adjustable. Can y'all see that? See if it's coming out the back side. Now I can do this. What I'm going to try to do is line this up where the arrow is lined up with the upper riser and the lower riser. It should, your arrow should line up with that, and if it lines up with that, you should be pretty close to where the left and right is. So we'll do that after we get an arrow on here. All right, let's see here. Now let's put a string on it. And remember, you put your larger loop up top, and let's see, both of these, yeah, this is the larger loop, so we're going to put that on the upper limb. Put your upper limb one on first, bring it down, then the lower one. Okay, now let's get our bowstring and string this thing up and see what it feels like. All right, put your feet in that string, pull up, make sure your string, all right, okay, all strings in the groove. Let's see here. Upper limb, okay. Well, that feels pretty taut there. Okay. So what I want to do now is, how about let's measure and see what poundage this bow is at. Let's pull this thing back. Man, that feels more than 30 to me. That feels more like probably about 40. Well, let's put it on the bow scale and see what we got. All right, so I've got this set up. All right, you know, when you measure the draw length, you're actually measuring from the back of the bow right here to wherever you're drawing the string to, and that would be to this point. So it'll be there to there, wherever you're drawing this back, whether that's here, here, or here. So we're wanting to draw 28 inches from here to right here. I marked it. This is 28 inches from here to here. So I'm going to pull this bow back to right here, and that should give us how many pounds we have at 28 inches. So let's pull. All right. So you see it's set at 0 with no weight. All right, so here we go. Let's go all the way back. And this thing says 42 pounds. 41.76. 41.76 at 28 inches. So this bow, the limbs say that it is 30 inches at 30 pounds at 28 inches. This bow is pulling 41.76, so nearly 42 pounds at 28 inches. So that's a problem if you're needing a 30-pound bow. But this will probably still work very good for bow fishing, because 40 pounds is probably more adequate if you're shooting those big gar and those big old carp. But if you're inviting somebody to come who's not used to a heavier bow, they'll struggle with this. So, but anyway, all right, so one bad thing about this bow is it's 12 pounds off. Okay, now when I'm lining up your flipper type rest on how far out or how far in you want this rest to be, I usually take my eyes and eyeball this string, and I line it up in the middle of the lower riser or the middle of the upper riser. And this particular handle has a line in the middle, so I could use that. And then, so once I line that up like that, I can look down the arrow and try to line it up with the string as well. And You kind of want the arrow to kind of be pointing out just a little bit, but actually this is pretty close. I need to come in just a little bit, maybe one turn, and it ought to be just right. All right, I'm looking down the arrow, lining it up with the lower riser and upper riser, and the arrow lines up with everything. So that kind of gives you an idea on where to line this up, and you can adjust that as you shoot the bow. So now we got to put a knot point on here, and let's go shoot this thing. So far I'm not too pleased with this, being that the weight is way off, but that's all right. We'll deal with it. All right, let's see how this thing shoots. I got a couple arrows. These are XX75s 2013, should be about right for this 40-pound bow. These are aluminum. That knock don't stay on. You can see that this string, you're gonna have to tighten your knocks up if you're gonna use these arrows. But let's draw this thing back and see what it feels like. Man, that thing stacks like a dump truck. Remember, it's supposed to be 30 pounds at 28. It's 41.76 at 28, so it's 10, 12, nearly 12 pounds off. But let's see how this thing shoots. Man, it stacks like a dump truck. Shoots pretty quick. It's gonna be all right for bow fishing, though. That's what we're using it for. Let's see. Let me tighten that knock up, man. Dry fire this thing. All right. That's what you get for $79.80. Boy, that thing stacks like a dump truck. It shoots all right, I guess. But anyway, I guess a couple things. You know, the bow's inexpensive. It looks like it will be durable. It is laminated with wood, and that's probably fiberglass. I don't think that's carbon. And feels pretty good, but it just stacks real bad. It's about 12 pounds off. It's supposed to be 30 pounds at 28. It was 41.76 at 28. But I think it'll work for bow fishing, and that's what I purchased it for. But anyway, thank you guys for following me on my channel, but more than that, I love you guys. God bless you, and I'll see you again on another video.